this video, I'm going to take you guys through some origami. Just kidding, guys. Life is short, you got to laugh a little bit. Alright, so you're going to need 2 hand towels. Make sure that they're nice and sturdy and strong. You're going to fold the towels up so it's nice and neat. Put it around the handles of the 1 gallon water bottles. You don't need top of the line water bottles, but you do want to make sure that the handles are nice and sturdy on those water bottles, as they're going to take some pressure from you putting the towel around it. Store brand will work just fine. You don't need the top of the line brand. So what we're looking for here is nice, slow, and controlled movements. Since we are using lighter resistance, we want to really focus on contraction and most importantly on the eccentric movement, or the negative movement, which is your arms coming down. You're going to come down really slow. It's almost a 3, 2, 1 count coming down. And if you go even slower, you're going to work the muscles and engage them even more. So a lot of you guys were asking how much the actual weight of each of those 1 gallon water bottles are. And the actual weight is 8 to 8.5 pounds, or 8.34 to be exact, if I'm not mistaken. Don't underestimate these water bottle workouts. They're extremely effective, just effective as resistance, because you can stack them up. You put 2 on one end, put 3, 4 bottles if you're stronger, and it adds up to a lot of resistance. 16, 24 pounds of resistance if you're adding 2 or 3 of them. And it's actually a very effective exercise because since the weight is not equally distributed, you're actually recruiting a lot of more muscles, especially your stabilizer muscles. So if you're doing it slow and controlled, you're adding a good amount of resistance, it's extremely effective. These towel workouts are also really great for building forearm strength and grip strength. One thing I do want to point out is that you want to make sure that the bottles are either sealed and not opened yet, or you purchase ones that have the caps that screw on to there so it's nice and snug and it doesn't come off, rather than the ones that pop on and off, because you want to make sure that it doesn't accidentally the cap pop off and then you got a big mess you need to clean. Definitely don't want that to happen to you. So with this exercise, depending on how many water bottles you have in the package, you can go and stack more than one together if you want more resistance. This one is a great exercise to burn out the biceps. So on this one, I would superset it with the single arm bicep curl. It will be a great way to burn out the biceps. Or you can superset it with a tricep exercise. So after you do a tricep exercise, do this one and do high reps and really burn out those biceps. With this exercise, you can really stack a bunch of water bottles on there and really get a nice amount of resistance. Obviously, the more you put on there, the longer the towel needs to be. Keep your feet shoulder width apart, your core nice and tight. Make sure you don't excessively arch your back, and also make sure that your elbows are drawn in a little bit. They don't have to be completely all the way in and parallel to one another, but you definitely don't want them to flare all the way out. This is the same exercise, but you're just sitting down. Now the seated one, what it allows to do, especially if you have a lot of resistance on there, is it helps to keep your back more stable and your pelvis more stabilized. A lot of people standing up with a lot of resistance might have an excessive arch in that back. So this sitting down allows you to stabilize the pelvis a little bit more and tighten your core and focus on engaging your core more so your back isn't as arched. Now with the tricep kickback, it's extremely hard to hold 2 water bottles. It's very awkward and it's almost near impossible to have good form technique. So an exercise like this, I would use it as a burnout exercise for the triceps. So after doing something like the plank tricep extension or the overhead extension, I would go and superset it with this exercise, because you're only using 1 bottle and you can use this exercise to really burn out the triceps and do higher repetitions. One of my favorite bodyweight exercises for the triceps. It's so effective. If you want to modify and make it easier, the further away your elbow and hand placement is from your body, the easier it is for you to push up and down. And as you'll notice, I'll progress and slowly keep bringing my hands and my elbows closer to my body. And the more that the elbow lines up directly underneath my shoulder, the harder it gets. Make sure you keep your elbows tucked in and don't let them flare out as you push up and down. Another thing you'll notice is my hand placement. If you have your palms facing down, for a lot of people when they're doing push-ups and planks with their palms facing down, it puts way too much pressure on their wrist. The wrist is too hyperextended and it's a lot of pressure on those joints. So if you make a fist but not clench it, but just a nice relaxed fist grip, and you do a neutral grip and push up and down, it's a lot less pressure on those wrists. So try that out if you have wrist issues.